This is day 15 of me building a billion-dollar business in public. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So as always, we're going to start off with some basic YouTube Q&A. Essentially, it's going to be me answering your guys' questions. So if you want to ask me a question, just please drop down a comment below. Next, we're going to get into a cold email campaign breakdown of mine that I'm currently running for my firm. Now, I've thought this over. This is probably not the smartest idea, so I'm not going to show it too much, but I'm still going to show you the flow as well as the sequences that I sent out. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about strategy with regards to the main channel as well as the daily channel. And in the future, I received a few emails from you guys. You want to see like actual strategizing sessions with, like, say, an Excel sheet or a Google sheet where I'm writing down all the information, keeping track of the numbers and things like that. So we'll adopt that starting next week or within the next few days. So without further ado, before that, this is my daily channel. I'm assuming most of you know me. If you don't know me, let me explain a little bit about myself. First and foremost, my name is Bago, right? I started off in robotics. I'm this guy right here back in 2017 where we won the Los Angeles Regional Championship. I was the simulation analysis sub-team leader as well as a team strategist. From then on, I went to UCLA to join the Elegance Mind Club for human consciousness, essentially research on the human consciousness. And then I went to NASA as a computer engineer. And then I joined the Fortune 500 as a software engineering consultant. And I worked for some of these companies. I worked for a lot more, about like 20 to 23 range in total. And this was when I was still a student at UCST studying electrical and computer engineering. After the 9-to-5, when I got promoted from junior to manager within 3 years, I quit the 9-to-5 and I started my own firm, AB Analytics. And that's where we are today. Of course, I skipped a lot of wins, even more losses. If you want to learn more about those, check out my personal website. I have everything documented there. It's about.codeto.co.com. So let's not waste any more time and let us get straight into it. Okay, so we've got 2 comments, I think, today. Let me refresh. Yeah, we got 2 comments. So the first one is from Monsu, LDN. So the conclusion, mastering software engineering is being able to wager between the value something creates for the business, the real car, the time it takes to create it, and the money it takes to make it a reality. Correct, or am I missing some nuances? Mastery, so value something creates for the business, okay, the time it takes to create it, and the money it takes to make it a reality. Well, it's correct. In terms of missing nuances, it really depends on what you mean by that. So from this perspective, I mean, if you just wanted to get really good at creating something for the business in terms of value, doing it in as short as a time as possible, right, and having the funds to do it, you would be pretty well off in the sense of that would be pretty good. In terms of are you missing some nuances, I mean, I don't see anything specific about communication here and things like that, but I'm going to assume you're already including that within the time and the value aspect. So just at its base, from a high-level perspective, yeah, this is correct. When drawing something on a blackboard, it's maybe helpful to zoom in or more, use thicker pen strokes. I think I'm using the thickest pen stroke, but I will zoom in more, so thank you for that. If you like towards a big B, I myself will work on the wizard, come out with your communication. Well, keep me updated. Let me know how it goes. Thank you for the question. Cheyenne asks, as a CS major from a tier 2 college in India, I would like to get some kind of career guidance about the tech industry. I have 6.5 out of 10 Python backend coding skills, and I'm interested in cloud DevOps as well. There's a significant gap between the number of actual diverse roles in a company versus the ones which are actually highlighted. Should I focus more on in order to build a good career, let's say 2 years? What do you define as a good career? And you need to ask yourself, where do you want to be in 2 years? For India, for example, I know many individuals who are making, say, $1,000, $1,500 a month, and they consider that as good career, right? So you really first have to define what you want, what would result in a good career, whether you're going to look at it monetarily, whether you're going to look at it if you're going to work on something actually useful, the hours, the freedom you're going to have. I don't know what you consider a good career. In terms of the opportunity, there's opportunity everywhere, right? As long as you're skillful enough in whatever it is you're going to be doing, there's opportunities everywhere. Now, are some things going to have more opportunity than others? Yes, obviously. You're going to have a lot more focus around AI since we are living in AI times right now. But in terms of, like one thing specifically that you should absolutely have to learn, I would say just learning how to work with AI right? And knowing how to prompt it properly and knowing how to include it in your workflow. Don't shy away from it. Get as essentially close to it as possible. Use it a lot, but don't let it completely replace your line of thinking. Still have autonomy in how you think and the things you do. Just use it as a tool because that's all it really is. That's the only career advice I would really give you. Outside of, you need to define what a good career is, how much money you want to make in how many years, the level of freedom you want to have, where you see yourself in the future, and then work slowly towards those goals with regards to, okay, if I want to make, let's say, $10,000 a month in India because I want to live in India one day and, live in the United States. So probably getting a job that's going to pay you $600 a month isn't going to be ideal, right? You're going to have to shoot bigger. And as a result, your goals are going to have to change. So hopefully that gave you enough of an explanation as well. So appreciate the question. Okay, we're done with the YouTube Q&A, so let's move on to the cold email campaign breakdown. So for reference, this is essentially, we're running a new offer for personal injury law firms. This is something that came from my own network that I saw people complaining about, and I thought, why not just, actually get into it. So we decided to run this offer. We went to test it. In the last 4 weeks, we've actually, so it says conversion 75,000. This is just the deal opportunity that I put at 25K. In reality, we made slightly over like 110,000 in the last month just from this email campaign. And for reference, most of our revenue doesn't actually come from email campaigns. It comes from referrals and already a set network of individuals. But I am still quite, I want to say, what is the word I use to not sound too cocky? I'm good at email campaigns, let me put it that way. I can get responses from people, I can get opportunities built, and I can convert them. In terms of these guys, we'll probably, so we've converted opportunity cost-wise 4 out of the 12 here. I'll probably convert 3 more. So we'll have about like a little slightly over 50% conversion rate from opportunities to conversions. The reply rate is the total reply rate, it's not the positive reply rate. And in the last 4 weeks, the sequence started for 970 people. So let's get straight into the sequences. I'm not going to get into the leads. I don't want to leak any information, but let's get straight into the sequences. So first and foremost, let me just explain what we're even doing, right? One of the things that law firms were complaining a lot about, there's a law firm that's literally about a 5-minute walk away from me. I know the owner. I see him sometimes, and he complained a significant amount specifically about the personal injury cases when, let's say, a new matter is opened. Let's say this individual needs to go to a chiropractor or he needs to go to a doctor's office or wherever. And they need to go to that office, right? The doctor has to sign off on it to let the law firm know that, hey, yes, this person came. So for example, if somebody gets into a car crash and then they're going to be suing, right? It's a PI matter. They need to go to the doctor, actually get checked, actually do the billing, such that the doctor can bill the insurance and the law firm can get money out of it too. They're going to split it at the end down the line. Most individuals, what ends up happening is they don't go to every medical appointment, right? They delay it. And most law firms don't know that they didn't go because the doctor doesn't necessarily tell them right off the bat. So there's like a miscommunication, mismatch. And then at the end of the day, when the settlement value comes in, it comes in way less than the people predicted. And it's literally just missing out on free money. So what we decided, we're like, wait, if we just set up automatic client reminders, make everything flow smoothly, right? Just have the entire system automated from A to Z. So not one singular process, the entire system automated from A to Z. So the second they get a new PI matter in, everything is done for them. That would increase a lot of their essentially missed out settlement value. So we're like, there's no way people don't actually like this, especially if it's a PI matter who has this specific problem. So the way we opened the first one, I believe B was the winner. But let's take a look so you guys kind of understand where I'm coming from. So I know this is a long shot, but I work specifically with law firms like organization name. Basically, I built a system that the moment you open a new PI matter, automatically reminds clients about every medical appointment, alerts your team if they miss one, pulls the record straight from providers, and spits out a clean summary of diagnosis, CPT, ICD codes, and bills, ready for your demand letter at no cost to you. I ran it for a similarly positioned firm in LA, and they captured an extra $130,000 in settlement value in a little over a week. So this was for actually that exact friend's firm that we ran it for completely for free. They got a really good result. I'm like, okay, we can actually run this as an email campaign and do this for other firms as well. I know this is completely out of the left field, but I'm fairly confident we could do something similar. Just wanted to see if there was interest. You were one of the first firms I found when looking into it. Would this be of value to you at all? Wouldn't cost you anything. I paid for all myself upfront. If you're open, we could work out some sort of deal if it works for you. So generally speaking, this one probably didn't win because it is a little too long-winded near the last part, but this is why you test things out. The one that did end up winning was this one. So I put something interesting together a few months ago that works well. To make a long story short, it's a post-intake automation that kicks in the moment you open a new PI matter. It texts and emails clients every time they have a medical appointment, pings your team if they no-show, pulls the records directly from providers, and spits out a clean summary ready to drop into the map package. I ran a similar system for a local firm down here in LA, and we added an extra $92,000 a month at 50% margins. It was my friend's company, so I had a lot of latitude. So there we go, same exact testimonial, except worded it a little differently. In terms of the total settlement value, so here, this was a little in over a month, right? Throughout, it's over a week, but the actual process for the cases to settle and everything like that was a little over a month range. If I converted it to just the monthly, it was like $92,000 essentially. So these numbers end up coming out to the same exact thing. It's just this one is on a shorter time horizon. And I put, this one I explicitly stated that it was my friend's company, so I had a lot of latitude with regards to what I could do and what I couldn't do. But I want to see if I could build out something similar for you, since in my experience, this is a really easy win, takes some extra work, and you can add a few $1,000 and perceive value for free. Like you're going to work the case anyway, how much nicer would it look? It came preloaded with a bunch of goodies. Best, and then the sending account first thing. So this one won, obviously, because it was a little bit more personalized and it felt less AI and less robotic. It felt a little less formal as well, so it was a bit on the informal side. But this is essentially what I started with. And then we have first name, quick question about your PI cases. Okay? Now, I don't track open rates because it does affect the deliverability. If you want to track them, you can do them for like 1 or 2 days just to see what the base track rate is like, open rate is like, excuse me. And then I would turn it off because it definitely does affect deliverability. So I can show you my email accounts later, but they're all at 100 health score and I'm sending 50 a day. Many people are surprised that you can send 50 a day and have 100% health score. So let's move on to, this is basically where step one, right? Like this is our main thing. This is what we go in for. Now let's take a look at our follow-ups. So this was the first follow-up. Just wanted to quickly follow up on my email from last week. Is adding value to your API settlements through automated client and records management something you're interested in exploring? A little generic, AI, right? Second one, just checking if you had a chance to my note below. Let me know if this is of interest. Once again, a bit more on the informal side. So you can probably see the direction I went. I did one formal, one informal, one formal, one informal, always for the follow-up sequences that I do. Generally speaking, I have found that informal works better. I believe it's because the standard is formal, that many people go formal route. And generally AI, when you ask it to prompt you something, it does it formally, not informally. You have to explicitly state, do it for me informally, and then it will do informally. But I have found informal emails to work significantly better than formal emails. And I've pretty much tested this in almost every single industry. Informal has worked better. This was my step 2. Right? And just to show you how many flows I have, like I have 8 follow-ups that I do. So most people are like, wait, 8? Isn't that too many? Aren't you going to bother the person? Aren't they going to mark you as spam? No. If you genuinely want to help somebody, you need to actually do everything in your power to get them to, help themselves, so to say. And I send everything every 2 business days, right? People will be like, wait, this cadence is way too fast. You're sending way too emails. They're going to get blocked, blah, blah, blah. I'll show you the email scores with regard to the domain health. You'll see it's not like that at all. You have to understand that it's your duty. Always remember the doctor-patient analogy that I bring up. It's your duty to help somebody if you can actually help them. In this specific case, if I know I can help these law firms, I need to do everything in my power to get them to actually help them out. 8 follow-ups is more than enough within a span of like about 2 to 3 weeks for them to know. I mean, if they don't even respond, I know they're not interested and I can just remove them. But at least with 8 follow-ups, I do my due diligence. This is the second follow-up. Third follow-up, it's a little on a different side too. Hope you're having a good week. One of the biggest bottlenecks I see in PI firms is the time it takes to get all the medical documentation ready for the demand letter. The system I shouldn't automate it's this, driving a clean summary of diagnosis codes and builds directly to your team. The goal is to make your case flow faster and more efficient at no cost. Worth a 15-minute chat to see if it's a fit. So this one was just a quick little follow-up. This one is, once again, I kind of re-expand on what it is I'm reaching out because they might have to scroll all the way up to see my original email. This one, they can at least get a little bit of context in it. And I do add a CTA at the end of this one for step 3. Now, of course, this one is a little informal. This one's more formal one. And it's a different approach too on which one is the winner, right? Step 4, I know I mentioned the 130K lift in another firm. Another firm saw, to give you more context, it was my friend's PI company in LA, so I had a lot of latitude. We discovered that their biggest unrealized value was in client compliance, simply by ensuring clients made it to their appointments, documenting it. So this one is just a little follow-up on the actual case study that I sent them. And then this one, once again, the case study for the thing that I sent as well, essentially. Just expanding a little bit more about the testimonial itself. And once again, each one with a proper call to action. And I just realized that's 130K. I put here 100. No, okay. For some reason, I thought I did an accidental mismatch, but I didn't. So this was just another way of re-expanding on the testimonial / review that we had, right? Or the proof that I had to build even more credibility. And then step 5, just a quick little light one, right? I've sent the emails about no concept figures or PR. Am I completely off the base here, or is this something that could be on your radar? And then if I don't get a response, I'll just send a more direct email saying, I want to circle back one more time with a clear zero risk offer. I'd like to implement my client compliance and record retrieval system for your firm. I will personally cover all costs. We can track the increase in settlement value over a short period. If you're not happy with the results, we can part ways, no questions asked. It's a genuine offer to prove my system's value. So this one is sort of like, most of the people that will reply to me during this phase. Well, they'll either tell me yes or no. So it rarely gets to past 6 and then I'll get a reply. So this one already, if I get a reply around this, it's usually a no. Apologies for the persistence. I'm just passionate about what I built and how you can help firms like this. This is something I prefer. I follow up later in the year. But I do everything in my power that I can to get these individuals to actually at least respond to me, right? I'm assuming my proposal to help increase your PR isn't a good fit for you right now. Therefore, I won't be reaching out about this again. If anything changes in the future, wishing you all the best. And then this is my last email telling them, since I haven't heard back essentially from 8 emails, I'm going to sayonara, like see you later, right? So let's go through what essentially happened. Our step 1, the first email I sent out was an introduction to what I was offering. So what I did was I called out a problem that they have, I offered a solution to it, and I backed it up with credibility. And then I gave them a call to action. Okay? And then what I did is I sent a light follow-up, just bumping this to the top of their email inbox. And then afterwards, I expanded on my testimonial, on my credibility, right? More specifically, I expanded on the solution aspect of that credibility portion. So I went a little deeper into the system and I talked about the problem that they were having and I gave a CTA. Afterwards, if they didn't respond to this, I then highlighted the review / the result that I got for another firm, and I broke down essentially in more detail what it really resulted in. So first and foremost, it increased settlement value, which I said in an original email, but I also said it reduced paralegal hours, which meant the paralegals could spend their hours on something else, right? Same exact thing here. And step number 5 was once again just top of your inbox type of a bump. So we've had thus far 2 top of inbox bumps. And then number 6 was a more direct, informal approach in both emails, right? Just letting them know, hey, I believe this is, going to work for you. Like, if it works, you'll see a clear ROI. If it doesn't, you risk nothing. Once again, call to action. I'll get most responses on this one. And then 7, already a bit more direct, kind of like, not angry, but to the point of, hey, like, I'm nearing the last straw, like, I'm getting tired of it. Do you want to respond or not? Type of email, right? And then last but not least, I'm like, okay, we have sent out already 7 previous emails. I won't be reaching out again. Looks like this matter is not important to you as of this moment. For this last step, I've actually seen people go extremely direct and be like, I guess you don't want to make more money. It's kind of like passive aggressive. I don't really like doing that because if I do get a response, I'll get a negative response. I just like to leave off on a good note and always not burn the bridge, essentially just have it this way. I have had a few cases where, let's say, a year has gone by and then they've reached back out to me. I've only had like 2 or 3 cases where that happened, but still, I mean, 3 is better than 0, right? So you always don't want to burn the bridge, essentially. That's what I'm trying to get at. In terms of the schedule, I sent this. It was from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Mondays to Fridays. And then in terms of my options, so I sent first email as text only. I disable tracking. I enable stop sending emails on reply, right? My daily limit is 300 from this specific campaign. And then the owner, it's of course me. time gap between emails 5 minutes, and random additional time of 1 minute. Automate the testing. Reply rate is my winning metric, obviously. I don't do prioritize reaching out to new leads because this was a relatively small campaign. I didn't have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of emails. Generally speaking, you do want to do provider matching, right? And the way you want to do this is you add a custom rule like Google to Google, blah, 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 blah. I didn't do it for this because this feature is actually relatively new for me. I have to work with this. I have seen people recommending it, but I'll make a proper video about it once I actually test it out. And then these ones I did not touch or do anything to that. I just left it as is. Subsequence wise, there's no subsequences. It's just the main sequences that we had here. So hopefully that was, proper showcase. I shouldn't probably do this because this isn't the smartest thing because this campaign is still running. So if you want to copy it, you can, but I am telling you it's not going to work if you copy this word for word because I've already sent out emails with individuals. I have way better credibility than you, right? I just have an advantage in this. So in terms of unique advantage, I'm more advantageous in this. Now, can you do this, let's say, in your own country? Yes, you're more than welcome to. If you're watching this outside of the US, you want to do this in other countries, you can copy it, okay? Generally speaking, though, I don't want you to copy everything word for word. What I want you to understand is it's not really as hard as it looks, okay? It actually is as easy as it looks from the perspective of you just need to spend a little time in understanding who your customer is, what is their main problem really, and giving them an offer so good they will feel stupid saying no, right? As Alex Hermosi always says. He does have a point in that, in a sense of there's literally no risk to these individuals. I tell it, like initially starting off, I'm gonna do it for free, right? And then only later, if you get PI settlement value, we'll get money out of it. Now, in reality, I do a lot of upsells. So I do get money out of it initially. That's why when I said the opportunities was like about 25 grand, in reality, it was a lot more. I can build out the system, let's say for free, quote unquote, but all the other upsells that I'm going to do with other services, I'll still charge those. And furthermore, I'll always take a percentage of the settlement value that I'll get in, right? So I make my money out of it. But it's not like I'm necessarily lying or being deceptive. It's just for that specific thing that I'm offering, I'm being truthful about that. But I don't talk about the upsells. I mask the upsells. But it's not a bad thing because it still helps out the business. So if there's one thing you need to take away, it's as follows. Be extremely ruthless with your cold emails. Send out as many sequences as possible. I recommend minimum of 8, actually. And don't do like 5 days. Do within 2 days. They're not going to get mad. And if they do, they'll tell you they want to unsubscribe. It just marks them as not interested. So don't feel like you're going to bother these individuals. Send as many emails as you possibly can, right? And only have like a 2-day maximum, I would say. You can even drop this down to 1 day sometimes. But leave it at 2 days to still reach out to people. For your follow-ups, have a mix of just bumping it to the top of a thread, bumping it to the top of an email inbox, a mix of breaking down the problem a little bit more, a mix of breaking down the testimonials a little bit more, and of course, a bit more specific call to action heavy with regards to de-risking the entire process. So hopefully you enjoyed this specific part. Let's go back to the, our strategizing session and talk about the main channel as well as the daily. So the main, we have a video coming out today. It's Sunday. So we have a video coming out tomorrow for Monday. It's actually a very nice video breaking down a hyper-specific problem and how I would go about solving it. In terms of our daily, we're doing relatively not bad. I mean, our most recent video is doing extremely well. We've got a crazy click-through rate for the impressions. So this is obviously going to go down because the impressions are relatively low right now, but this is telling me that, okay, people are somewhat interested in this type of a topic. And this is the sort of the thumbnails that we ended up focusing on this type of a thing. Let me see if I can open it up. Like this guy over here, right? So just me and then like a Twitter screenshot type of thing with the blue background. This will be the base standard one unless I see something better or if something else fits better, I'll do that. Outside of that, I mean, the growth you can see past 7 days. Let's look at it this way. So it's definitely more. So we're definitely growing. You can see it right here. So we just have to consistently keep up the updates as well as the engagement on that end. Now, in terms of what's changing on the main channel, as I already mentioned previously, but I'll do a deep dive in the future days once we have a bit more solid of a strategy. And also the Code to CEO website will be updated. We have a crazy amount of updates in Code to CEO. So the website has to be updated to reflect that. So pay attention to that too. I believe that's pretty much it for now. No point in making this any longer than it needs to be. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and please, please, please don't copy this word for word. It's not going to work. Just don't. This is more so that it's possible. It's for you to understand the basics of it and what good copy really entails. So outside of that, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.